All right, let's talk a little bit about the listing presentation over there on 163. One of the first things you're going to do is this thing called the CMA, the comparative market analysis, or we call those the comps. When someone says, I want you to list my house, what's it worth? This is where the comps, where you come in and go, okay, let me pull the comps and I'll show up at your house. Now, the good thing about a listing presentation, it's a planned presentation. What I mean by that is no one says, here, list my house right now. They usually say, hey, I want you to list my house. Okay, I'll be at your house tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. So you've got time. Unlike buyers who will do exactly what she just said. Hey, I'm in the driveway. Can you come show it to me right now? So with a listing, you actually have some time. So one of the first things you do is you get your CMA together, which will show you the properties that are currently listed, some that have sold, and then when you go talk to the house, you could say, hey, you know, houses in your neighborhood have traditionally sold between 175 and 179. It's probably where we're going to end up. Where do you want to start? And they usually say 190. Maybe you missed the point. So the CMA is the first thing you're going to have and you're going to do. And then you're going to get into all these other questions. And this is where the 2 years of apprenticeship helps you when your broker should help you. Because they're going to say, well, how quick will it sell? I don't know. How hard are you going to be to deal with? How good is it? Is it a good 179 house or is it a bad 179 house? You know, meaning does it need repairs? Are you realistic in what you want? So there's a whole bunch of questions that you will have to talk about. And what we're going to talk about, if you look in your book on page 160, I don't know, 7, 8, and 9, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I don't know why this book's got the Minnesota Realtors listing, but that's a listing form. We're not going to go over the listing form, all right? But what I do want to go over are some of the things that would be in the listing contract so that we understand in general what the paragraphs are going to be, okay? So there on page 165, you're going to need the names of all the parties. This is where you would put the husband and wife and hope that one of them's not lying to you. But you should know that already because, like I said, it's planned event. You pulled the tax record, owner of record, and it should show Bill and Mary Smith. So you know, hey, I'm going to need Bill and Mary Smiths. Well, Mary passed away and I'm selling the house without her. Oh, well, then we may need a death certificate. Or it's going to say Sue Johnson. Well, my name's now Sue Smith. I got married. May need the marriage certificate so that we can show that it's the same person. All right, so you're going to capture all of that. The firm name, obviously, you put your company's name there. The description, this is where you get to do all the fancy stuff. This might be the legal description. This is the northwest quadrant of the northwest quadrant. This is where you call your title company and go, oh, send me the description for this. The listing price, this comes from the CMA. Never, ever, 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 ever be the one that sets the listing price. All right? When you pull your comps, you're going to go to your client and go, hey, it's between 174 and 179. Where would you like to list? And they're going to go, I don't know, what do you think? I think you probably should put a number here between 174 and 179. Oh, okay, what number would you want to write down? I want to write a number down between 174 and 179. Until they say 177.5, sure, let's start there. Because the second you go 179 and it doesn't sell, they're going to say, we wanted 174, but you said that. Who's your E&O insurance guy? Or the other way around. You're going to say 174, and they're going to say, we could have got 179, you sold it too low. So let them be the one and just keep playing that game. Dude, I'm not going to tell you where to sell your house. Where do you want to start? And you will get people, hey, it's between 174 and 179. Where would you like to start? 188. Okay, let's talk about that. Why do you think your house is going to beat any of the houses in the neighborhood? And I have heard all kinds of stuff. My favorite one is back when Mary told me that she was a better housekeeper than Debbie down the street, whose Debbie's house sold for $180, and I'm a much better housekeeper. Really? Okay. You think that's going to raise the price? The broker's authority and responsibility. This is the paragraph that confers special agency to you. This is the one that gives you the power. I have the power. Like He-Man. That gives you special agency. You're going to have a section called broker's compensation. This is where you would put in our paragraph, in our listing in Indiana, it will say, what do you list the property for? 7%. Then it's going to say, how much are you giving to the other side? So we actually have to tell our clients now what the split's going to be, because that may play into their decision of using you. John listed for 6, I listed for 6, but John's giving 1% away, and I'm going to give 4% away. They might like my concept better. So now we actually have to tell them, what percentage are we listing it for? And of that, what percentage are we giving to the other side? And they have to know that. Used to be, you could say, literally, my money, I'll do with it what I want. Now we have to disclose, here's the full price of 6, here's how much we're giving away. Well, why? It's because what I just said. Because if I'm listing with you, but you're only going to give 1% away, or I could list with John for the same price and he's going to give half of it away, there's a better chance that people would be more motivated to see it with 3% than 1%, so I'm going to use his company instead of your company, simply because of that split. All right? Which doesn't make sense to me, but people do. So we have to, in our compensation paragraph, there is a section that talks about that. All right? We have done math on the commission. In the book, there's a section there on calculating commission. We've done this already. Yeah. There's a section called real and personal property. There's a section in our listing agreement that says what's going. So if there's a rose bush, which would normally be real property, but they want it to go, you would say, hey, this real property is going with the seller. If there is personal property, which would normally go, and they want to leave it as an enticement, washer and dryer will stay, water softener, and pool table in the basement. You capture all of this information on the listing agreement, and then you would translate that all to the MLS system when you sit down to put it in. Washer and dryer is going to stay, so is the water system and the pool table. All right? If there's anything in there that's leased, you have to disclose that, because you don't want the buyer to think that they're getting that Culligan water softener system, and when they show up, it's gone, which I've had happen, me personally. You know, when I first started, one of my big mistakes was this. It was like a $3,000 mistake, because we saw the system in a farmhouse, wasn't disclosed that it was going or leased, and when we went to the final walkthrough, we came back in the garage, and there's the water system, or there's the water hot water heater, and all these pipes had been capped off. We're like, what the hey? And they said, oh, that was a leased Culligan system. So we had to finagle and do some moving around. In the book, it talks about the proposed closing date. No. If you're good enough to figure the closing date when you list the property, you'd be the best agent in Indianapolis and have no competition. We have not the slightest clue what the proposed closing date's going to be when you list a property. Now, when we make a purchase agreement, different story. Matter of fact, we have to put a closing date. But when you list, there's no proposed closing date. All right? Name the title company. We use title companies in Indiana. Title companies have an attorney that they have on staff or owner that they'll deal with to review all the deeds and all that. Talks about evidence of ownership. Are you given fee simple, fee simple absolute, fee simple defeasible? What are you given? That would be in the listing agreement. 99.9 is going to be fee simple absolute. And encumbrances, you need to make sure you capture these. Yes, we have a water line easement or a power line easement, and our neighbor shares the driveway. Oh, so you've got an appurtenant easement. We need to know that so that we can put that in the MLS so the new buyer knows. Is there any home warranty scams? I mean, home warranties available? Yes or no? I can only say that because I used to own a home warranty company. Yeah. Was that Waldorf or Astoria heckling me from the back row? It was called Guardian Home Warranty. Huh? Was it a scam? It was not a scam, but it was an insurance. And let me tell you now, insurances don't make money by paying claims out. You know? That's why if you ever make a claim to an insurance, be prepared to make a third or a fourth claim, because almost across the board, all of them, first claim denied. First claim's denied. Pre-existing, sorry, don't cover that. Outside the house, don't cover that. Didn't buy that warranty. Least close the evidence, home warranty. Termination of the contract. This would be the end date. Start the listing on this date, end it on this date. In that paragraph is the broker protection clause that you would write that 7 days in or 30 days. That would be inside of that section. Any warranties by the owner? Hey, we got a new water softener. This warranty covers it on transmission. We had a wall work done in our basement. Lifetime warranty, that was transferable. We had to transfer that to the new buyer when we sold the house in Bloomington. The indemnification. Indemnification is a real big fancy word for hold harmless. Not my fault. They told me it was 100 bedrooms. There's only 4? Really? Okay, sorry. They told me the roof was new. It's got 3 layers. Didn't know that. That's can't hold harmless. Now I'm getting heckled by my own team. The non-discrimination statement, that's the Apple clause. Fair housing clause. We talk about the antitrust. You know, we won't collude with the other team to make sure that we would jack the price up on you. You got to have a signature by all parties, and then they sign it and date it. And that would be all of the things inside of a listing agreement. I can tell you now, on the test, do not worry. There's not going to be a question that says name 6 things on the listing agreement. But you better know what each paragraph does. You know, this paragraph confers the agency to, okay, that's this paragraph. Let's end the audio.